Hey guys, welcome to our brand new channel. I'm here with my boy John.
What's up, guys?
So on this channel, we're going to be trying to post these videos Wednesday and Saturday before Thursday night games and before Saturday games. On here, we're going to be talking about our locks of the week for our top 3 picks of the week. We're going to be talking about our fantasy football sit-ems, stardoms, or even our what can I say, John? Our upsets of the week.
Obsessed with the week, yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying. And we're also going to be talking about maybe I don't know, just playoffs, other sporting events,
And as you guys
football,
know,
baseball,
I'm a
and
big Giants fan. Holzer's a big Steelers fan, so expect Steelers and Giants football talk this podcast.
exactly. All right, John. So, what is your first lock'em of the week?
My first lock of the week. So I have the Cleveland Browns over the 1-4-1 Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, gotta have that.
Honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Cleveland Browns defense is looking pretty like bad right now. They're allowing 365.7 yards per game, and that's just not going to cut it in the National Football League.
Yeah, that's awful.
Joe Burrow, he has 6 touchdowns and 4 picks, which honestly I expected more out of Burrow. He's not doing bad. He's doing okay for a rookie QB. His QBR is like 85 or something like that, like 65 completion percentage. I mean, it's not bad, but the Browns secondary just isn't really proving much this season. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I agree.
other than Denzel Ward, just they're not really producing.
They're
Like Green,
struggling.
I
Their run defense has been okay because they've gotten Miles Garrett back and they've got whatever, but their secondary's been kind of banged up, kind of weak. Hopefully, they can get this win this week against Cincinnati. So
I mean,
oh, you go.
like
You finish.
the Bengals, they don't have a terrible offensive line, but it's not like the Browns have. I mean, they have Miles Garrett. I mean, I'm not sure how Olivier Vernon has been doing this year, or like Sheldon Richardson, but
Hmm.
I mean, they're not like a super productive force. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
feel like Burrow will be somewhat protected in the pocket, and he's got reliable receivers and Tyler Boyd, T Higgins, and AJ Green.
Yeah.
But Joe Mixon is out this week, isn't he?
He is.
That
He
might hurt.
is.
That might hurt them. So,
Okay.
but again,
Well,
I got
that
Cleveland.
is a pretty good pick right there. John, what do you have to say about your second lock of the week?
So, guys, my second lock of the week is going to be the Packers over the Texans, obviously. I mean, that's just a gimme. The only problem that I have with this one is that Aaron Jones is questionable with a calf injury, but I think that he'll be good by Sunday.
You have a score for that game?
I'm gonna say Packers 27, Texans 10.
All right. I also agree with that pick. What are you thinking for your third lock?
Another obvious one. I have the Bills over the Jets, the 0-6.
I
Sam, if you're watching out there, you had to expect this.
mean, they're tanking for Trevor at this point.
I
They're probably
know.
gonna try to get something for Sam Darnold if they can get Trevor. Maybe they'll. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Sam
But
Darnold.
Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. He was coming into the draft as one of the best quarterbacks, and I honestly thought that the Browns might have taken him first.
I mean, that's the problem with USC quarterbacks is they never pan out, but I really think that Sam Darnold can pan out. He's
I
not.
do too because he's made some plays in his career, but he's also had a lot of picks.
It's like Sam Darnold. I mean, he has a terrible offensive line. The Jets are
And
just
offense in general.
yeah. Mekhi Becton isn't playing that bad this year though. So I mean, the Jets could. I mean, in a year or two with some draft capital, trade away some big. They don't really have any big
They
players.
already lost Jamal Adams, their biggest piece. I mean,
I
hopefully CJ Mosley comes back strong.
right. I forgot about CJ Mosley.
I mean, he was good for them the first few games
He
last season, but
might
he got hurt.
if I were the Jets, I would trade him. I would trade him
I mean,
for
you might be able to get a third for him.
second or third. Yeah, probably a third. I mean, it's not like a third round pick is terrible.
No, it's not.
But the only problem I have with the Bills is that Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White are questionable, and
Ooh.
you know how big of a playmaker Tre'Davious
Yeah,
White.
Tre'Davious White has been big since he's
John
came back.
Brown is out with a knee injury, so that's gonna
John
hurt.
Brown?
Yeah, that's gonna hurt Josh Allen, man. I mean, he's still got Stephon, but John Brown's not a bad wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver too.
I was thinking about for later in the show for a segment. I was thinking about putting Cole Beasley as my stardoms for like a nice pick. I didn't do it. I don't, but I was thinking about it.
How has Beasley been playing this year? I haven't really.
He hasn't been terrible. He had a touchdown last week.
Yeah.
He's not been playing bad. All right.
Who
But
are
for
your
my first pick for Lockham, I had. Oh wait, before we get into that, John, what do you have a score for the Bills game?
uh I'm gonna say Bills are gonna beat the Jets. I'm gonna say 28-3.
Wow, 3 points.
Yeah.
Sam, don't take it too personally. It's just the team is bad. I'm sorry.
Uh, I'm
But
sorry.
to get into my first pick of the week, I had Packers over Texans as well. I thought Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, if he plays, the Texans defense for rush defense is one of the worst in the NFL. They're playing
Yeah,
terrible. They're running up a Derrick Henry ran all over them last week. He had 200 yards rushing. Like
he had like 50 or 60 receiving yards too.
yeah, he
I
was
mean,
just an animal. I mean, you're not going to stop Derrick Henry, but actually the Steelers are going to hold him to under 50 yards this week.
we'll see, man. We'll see.
No, not 50, but he'll probably get 110. I'm thinking maybe 95, somewhere in that range.
Get that many, really?
It depends.
Hmm. I don't know,
But
man.
our Steelers front seven is pretty nasty.
Yeah. Poor.
But for my score over Packers, I have Packers 30, Texans 21. So I have a little bit higher scoring. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, I'm gonna bump it down to like 24,
Right.
21 probably. I think that Will Fuller will get a touchdown this week. I'll think that Darren Fells might get a touchdown this week. I think Deshaun Watson's going to play good enough to be in the game, but I don't think their defense is going to help him out.
Brandon Cooks isn't playing that bad this
He
year.
is he's had a few good games in a row now. He had a slow start, but once he got integrated into that system, he's been playing better.
I mean, you could even argue that Randall Cobb isn't doing too bad. Yeah.
He had a good touchdown against the Steelers when they played him earlier in the season. But for my second lock of the week, I had Seahawks over Cardinals.
Okay.
The Seahawks, this is going to be a shootout. I
I agree.
have Seahawks 35, Cardinals 28.
35-28. Okay.
So I think DK Metcalf's going to have 2 touchdowns. I think Russell Wilson's going to add one on the ground. I don't know who's going to score the other ones. Maybe Greg Olsen sneaks one in. But I just think that this Cardinals defense cannot contain this offense. This offense is ranked #1 in the NFL right now. And have probably the front runner for the MVP in Russell Wilson.
Russell, I'm hoping he wins MVP, man. But he's the front runner now.
Yep.
The Cardinals defense isn't. I mean, they're not
Buda
great.
Baker's legit.
He is. He is.
He made plays last week against the Cowboys for sure.
It's unfortunate that Chandler Jones is out for the season though.
Yeah,
But
lost a lot of pass rush right there.
we just traded Marcus Golden to the Cardinals for a sixth, and Marcus Golden, he's not bad. He's more of a scheme edge rusher, like he was with
He could probably come in.
last year.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but he could probably come in on like 3rd and long, probably, and he'll get some pressure.
Murray's probably just gonna scramble out of that pocket and run.
Yeah, but they're gonna. I mean, Bobby Wagner's got to spy him all game long. Kyler Murray, he's got to be spied all game long, and it's got to be Bobby Wagner. You do not, or maybe not Bobby because he's not the fastest, but he is the best playmaker on that defense.
I mean, I would say Jamal, but it is Bobby
Is he
right
playing
now.
this week?
I'm not sure actually.
I don't know if he's playing this week. I'm not exactly sure, but
D Hop will play.
I'm hoping D Hop plays because I want this to be a high scoring game. That's why I picked 35-28. I think the offense is great for both sides.
And game could go either way.
It honestly can.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals won 35-28.
It's gonna be a shootout, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And for my third lock of the week, I have Patriots over 49ers of a score of 24-23. I think Cam's going to come back after a bad week against the Broncos. He's going to throw for 2, rush for 1. It's going to be a good week for him.
24-23, huh?
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Okay.
The Niners are struggling this year. Nick Bosa's out on defense. Their D-line, they traded I forget his name. Yep, they traded him to the Colts. And their D-line with Bosa out just hasn't been as good as it was last year. Like last year they were dominant. Everyone was scared to go against the 49ers front 7 as well. But this year it's just not as explosive without their playmakers.
Is Sherman still out?
I'm not exactly sure.
You want to know who's actually surprised me for the 49ers? Brandon Akoya. He's not doing bad, man. When he played the Giants, he torched their defense. And Jimmy G, I don't know.
He's struggling.
He's just inconsistent this
He didn't play
year.
bad last week, but
Jimmy G's not a bad quarterback, but they made it to the Super Bowl last year because of that defense. So you can't doubt that.
in the
Uh,
run game in the playoffs,
the run game, Raheem Mostert, Jerick
he's out
McKinnon.
though. He's out. He's on IR again.
Yeah. That I don't know. I think I agree with you there. I think the Pats might come out with this
Oh,
one.
Bill Belichick.
It'd be a close game.
Bill Belichick off this bad week. He's gonna be fired up. They're all gonna be fired up, ready to go.
Surprised that they lost to the Broncos though.
I am too, but Cam didn't play great. He was coming off COVID. It was like like I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, John. Who do you think, or who is your upset of the week?
Like we were just talking about, I have the Cardinals over the Seahawks.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, the Seahawks can win the game. Don't get me wrong, guys, but
Mhm.
the Cardinals, that offense is explosive. Kenyon Drake in the backfield. I mean, the guy, I wouldn't say he's unpredictable, but he comes out of nowhere sometimes. The
He's
dude,
he's very, very, very inconsistent. But when he's had his big plays, he's taken yards or touchdowns to the house. Like against the Cowboys with 2 minutes left, he took a 60-yard touchdown to the house or something.
Kyler Murray, man. I mean, I don't think he's been living up to expectations this year, but he's still so dangerous. Oh my God.
I mean, they lost to a Lions team that had Matthew Stafford, and they're better than we think they are. Honestly, the Lions are better than we think they are. And as that leads into my upset of the week, I have the Lions over the Falcons.
Oh,
The this isn't the biggest upset, but the Falcons are 2.5 point favorites right now.
yeah. I
So the Lions have a good chance of breaking this out right now. What do you
Lions can
think?
definitely cover that spread. I think they can.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I have DeAndre Swift on my fantasy
I
team.
trade him to you.
Shout out to Holzer for doing that. Thank you. I won last week because of you. But DeAndre Swift, I think he's primed up for a good game. And don't doubt Adrian Peterson, man. He's old and he may look a little sluggish sometimes, but that man can still run.
He can play. He's still
Yes.
ready to thump every week.
And
I oh, you
the
go, sir.
Lions got reliable receivers too. I mean,
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay.
This
I
is
mean,
that is a perfect segment into this, John. The Falcons are allowing 291 passing yards per game. Think about this. Think about the reliable receivers that Matthew Stafford has around him this year.
mm,
He has Kenny Galladay, like you said, Marvin Jones Jr., good receiver, T.J. Hawkinson.
Hawkinson, yeah.
Swift has been a great running back out of the backfield this year for him, pretty reliable. So
He's a
I
good,
think that they're primed for a really big passing week this week.
I believe so. I can see that, no doubt. And I mean, that Falcons defense is just, I mean, they're banged up and they're just not good. They're not good.
And another thing, John, is that might help you out with DeAndre Swift is that the Falcons are allowing 112 yards per game rushing, which isn't terrible actually. That's actually one of the better rush defenses in the NFL. 112 yards. It's not great, but it's not good. They're not good. They're top 10.
Really?
Near the probably by I think they're 8 or 8,
Wow.
but
Hmm.
their pass defense is terrible, almost allowing 300 a game.
Right.
Overall, that just they're giving up over 400, just over 400 yards per game.
Really?
Just
Wow.
over. The Falcons are not good on defense, like overall. So I think the Falcons are in for a bad surprise. But I think this game is also going to be a shootout, though, because Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones are activated. They are good to go. It's going to be a good week for both offenses.
Think Gurley's gonna play well?
I hope so. I think what happened to him last year really sucks. Him
Yeah.
getting hurt.
But the
What?
Rams, I mean, and they're not doing bad without him. Daryl Henderson, man, he's not too bad, and Cam Brown isn't terrible either. And they got Cam Akers, he's injured, but I think he'll be a productive running back in the future. I think he has a good NFL career ahead of him. Not great, but good NFL career.
Yeah, that's a great. This is going to our next segment here. John, who do you think is your first fantasy stardom this week?
So my first fantasy stardom is going to be T Higgins. So I mean, obviously, you guys can argue that AJ Green is Joe Burrow's number one receiver, but the stats aren't showing that this year, guys.
Thank you. The targets might be.
The targets, yeah, AJ Green has 45 targets, but he only has 22 receptions.
Yeah.
T. Higgins 22 receptions as well, 38 targets. Now T. Higgins has 339 yards compared to AJ Green's 215. T. Higgins also has 2 touchdowns. I mean, Joe Burrow is throwing the ball to this guy. Uh, I mean, he's just throwing it to him all the
Mhm.
time. And two-thirds of Joe Burrow's touchdown passes are to T. Higgins. So I mean, there's that stat
Hey,
alone.
that's good.
The Browns secondary is horrible.
Yep,
But
like we said earlier, they're banged up. Denzel Ward's playing great, honestly, but the
but
rest of them are just not great.
just like
But I have a question for you. Who do you think they're gonna if they run man, who's gonna follow or who's Denzel gonna shade? Is it gonna be AJ Green? Is it gonna be Higgins? Or is it gonna be Tyler Boyd, who's actually had a very good season as well?
oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna say they put Denzel on AJ Green just because
Size difference there though.
just because of his reputation.
Maybe,
On
yeah.
yeah, I mean AJ Green, he's older now. I mean, if I remember correctly, he's like 30 years old, and I mean for a receiver to be on the wrong side of 30 isn't. I mean that's not that good, but um. I don't know. AJ Green. I mean, he's still a playmaker, no doubt.
He
So
can be, definitely.
I think they'll put Denzel on him.
All right. I think that they would put him on Tyler Boyd, to be honest.
I mean, Tyler Boyd's a big receiver too, though.
Yeah, but he's faster too than AJ Green.
True, true.
That's what I'm saying. T. Higgins is just gonna take the top off the defense. He's just gonna go.
He's gonna have a good game. I think he has the potential to have a 100-yard receiving game. Definitely. We'll see.
Do you have any stats for him? What do you think he's gonna put up? What are your predictions?
I'm gonna say T's gonna get maybe 4 to 5 receptions. Maybe I'm gonna say he's gonna get 95 yards receiving and maybe a touchdown.
That's all right. For my first lock of the week, I'm going Mike Williams of the Chargers.
Mike
Mike,
Williams.
yep, Mike Williams. The Chargers already came out and said if Mike Williams is in single coverage, they're targeting him.
Right.
Anytime he has single coverage, they're going to him. He can be a monster. He
He
had a
can.
good game a week or two back. He hasn't had the greatest season, but I think him and Herbert maybe are going to start figuring it out. My prediction for him is 5 catches on 8 targets for 93 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
So I think he's going to have a pretty successful week. It's a good week for fantasy, especially if you need like a flex, if you have a buy, or he could be a good wide receiver number 2, maybe a 3.
Definitely.
So you agree with that pick, John?
I mean, Mike Williams isn't terrible, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, Jacksonville doesn't have a good defense. I mean, that's evident, but uh, they're gonna be putting their corner. Who did they just draft this year?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know he was in the top
Yeah, but
first round, obviously.
I mean, they're gonna have him covering Keenan. I think Keenan Allen is primed to have a good game too, but I
Mhm.
can definitely see Mike Williams having a good game, no doubt. So if you guys need someone off the waiver wire, I think I'd agree with Holzer. Go pick him up.
All right, John, who is your second stardom?
I've Devontae Adams. Houston's defense is
Ooh, I like
horrendous.
that play.
Their secondary is atrocious.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, number one receiver, and if Aaron Jones isn't playing this week, then Devontae Adams is just gonna tear up that field.
I 100% agree with you. I thought about it. I was like, I'm pretty sure someone else might do this, but
I mean, it
thank
was
you.
obvious to me, you know.
That is such an obvious. He's gonna torch off. He's coming off a pretty mediocre week last week against the Bucks.
I mean, he's been hurt a little bit this season
That's what
too,
I'm saying too. But I think that him and Aaron Rodgers are gonna get together if Aaron Jones isn't playing, and they're just gonna have to go off all game long.
right? And I mean, last week, even though Devontae didn't play super well against the Bucks, I mean, the Bucks have the best. I mean, you can make the argument that they have one of the best secondaries in the NFL, but they have a top five defense, no doubt. I mean, if I recall, I mean, I don't remember Devontae getting too many targets his way that game. I mean,
He had one. He dropped a slant over the middle that led to one of Aaron Rodgers' picks.
right,
It's in the air who saw it was. It was probably on Deontay or Devonte Adams probably because it was on his fingers. It was a harder catch, but when you're that guy, I feel like you have to make that catch.
I agree. I agree. But like I said, I mean, it's obvious. They're facing Houston. He's Aaron Rodgers' number one guy. He's a top five elite receiver in the
Oh,
NFL.
for sure.
He'll have a good game, guys. Start him. Start him if you have him in your lineup. Start him.
My second lock of the week. This is gonna be a surprise to you, John, but it's Marvin Jones.
I I have Marvin Jones too.
You have to start Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones is gonna. He hasn't been playing good this year at all. Terrible. He's had a
No,
touchdown, but the Falcons, man, they're giving up 400 yards a game overall, and just you just wonder if Marvin Jones is. This is a good game for him to turn up.
right. Uh, when we're getting ready for this video, I actually did some research, and Atlanta secondary is allowing the second most fantasy points to wide receivers this year.
That's not good.
Not good.
Not what you want to see.
And they're 30th in the league against the pass. So Atlanta's secondary is terrible. And I don't even know if Keanu O'Neal is playing, but if he is, it doesn't look like he's having that good of a season so far.
Like anyone on that team is having a good season.
Matt Ryan is though. Matt Ryan's not playing
He's
bad.
cooking,
Same with Calvin Ridley and Julio, but other than that,
especially Calvin Ridley and Julio tore it up last week. But
Cal-
my personal opinion on his stats for this week was going to be 6 catches on 7 targets for 81 yards, but catches 2 touchdowns. He's going to break out this week with 2 touchdowns. He's going to double. You know,
you think you think he's gonna play better than Galladay?
I think that they're going to. I think he's going to get one big catch for like 20, 30 yards, and then after that, I think he's just going to sneak one in the red zone. He's going to get one in. I
Okay,
think Kenny Golladay is going to have more of a prime week, like 8 to 10 targets,
right.
11 targets for 8 catches for 115 yards or something like that. Just Matthew Stafford is just gotta have a big week this week if they really want to win.
I'm gonna say that Marvin Jones is going to have 7 receptions on I'm gonna say 85 yards receiving. I think he'll get definitely he'll get a receiving touchdown, and who knows, maybe they run I don't maybe they'll run a screen or they have Jones moving motion, gets the ball when they're in the red zone, maybe he runs it in for a touchdown. You never know.
Could be possible. So, John, who is your wait, was it, oh that's your third one? Or do you have one
Yeah,
more? All
I
right, so
got
I'll,
you go first, so
all right, my last stardom. I'm not saying it's obvious, but it's pretty big. It's Justin Herbert.
Justin Hurt. Okay,
He's played
yeah,
well this season. He has 9 touchdowns to 3 picks, which is pretty surprising because not a lot of people expected this.
right.
He's playing one of the weaker defense this week against the Jags. Um, the Jags are allowing 288 passing yards per game, or something like that.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, I think they're no, sorry. Justin Herbert is going to torch the Jags this week for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You think so?
Yep. And he's also going to add one on the ground too, so he's going to have 3 total touchdowns.
I can see that happening. Dude's got wheels, no doubt. No doubt.
And also he'll add 2 or 3 carries for 23 yards just to sprinkle it on. He'll have a good week.
Okay. I wouldn't say that's a bold prediction. I think that's pretty accurate. I think and Jack, like you said, Jacksonville's defense is terrible.
They have
And
been bad.
I mean, this is just my opinion. I mean, I'm just going off stats and from what I've seen. I've watched Herbert. I've watched two Chargers games this year, so, and I've only watched Burrow play once. Um, Herbert, he looks like the candidate for Rookie of the Year. That's
He
my opinion.
might be if he keeps playing up to this pace.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, the only other rookies that I can think of for offensively that are playing that good is honestly Claypool's been going off.
He's playing well. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
the only other one I could think about, really.
Justin Jefferson too, man. Justin
He
Jefferson.
he he might get it. He has been going off as well. But if Claypool keeps up with him, I think that maybe. But they've both had really high highs and really low lows because they've both had like 1-2 points fantasy each week. Some weeks.
I think Ben needs to keep feeding Claypool the ball. That dude's a stud. He's a
Hmm.
stud. Oh my god.
So, do you have another lock in this week?
Yeah, I got two more, man.
Oh,
I'm gonna
perfect.
run by these real quick. I got Jameson Crowder against the Bills
I
because
actually agree with that, but go ahead.
Jameson Crowder, he's been really consistent this year. He's ranked 25th in ESPN's fantasy and PPR league, so that's not that bad. And the Bills defense has been super underwhelming this year. I mean, I had the Bills defense in my fantasy league, and they're just terrible, guys. They're terrible. And Jamison Crowder is good for 7 or more receptions per game. So I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Hmm.
And if White's not playing, then I don't really know another Bills defensive back or cornerback, I should say, that can really cover Crowder because he's good. He's an
He's been
underrated.
explosive this year.
He has been, yeah.
Last week wasn't great, but the weeks prior, he was getting over 100 yards per game, and he was being a very good option for either Sam Donald or Joe Flacco, whoever was in.
That's the only downfall that I have this week for Crowder is that Flacco's playing. And my other stardom this week, guys, is Matt Ryan.
Ooh, Matt Ryan.
Julio's back. He's activated. Calvin Ridley's back.
I
I mean,
agree, 100%.
and the Falcons are averaging 35 points during Jones. Like when Jones is back, they're averaging 35 points.
Very good.
That's pretty good. I mean, Falcons are choke artists, but one of the only bright spots, like I said earlier, is Matt Ryan on this team, and he's been really consistent this year. You could say that he's been one of the better quarterbacks this year.
I agree, 100%. All
Uh,
right, John. It's time to go on to one of the more controversial topics is the fantasy situms.
yes, sir.
This could be a hard topic. Really, any of these topics could be hard because you never really know what happens in the game. John,
Right.
take it away. Who's your first situm?
My first sit-em was Jarvis Landry.
Ooh,
Yeah. So actually, he just revealed like a handful of days ago, maybe 2 days ago, I can't remember, but he's been playing with broken ribs. He's been playing through a broken rib injury.
really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the Bengals have a good defense, but there's the possibility of him re-aggravating that injury, and he could even get sidelined this week. Who knows? And Baker, I mean, you can't trust Baker.
Inconsistent at best.
I feel I can just see Baker throwing a ball to Jarvis and like a hospital pass, and Landry's out for the game. And I mean, you got Odell on the opposite side of the line of or opposite side of the field to Landry, and I mean, Odell's been kind of underwhelming this year, but again, he has Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. Nothing against Baker, like I said, he's just inconsistent. But I mean, I think Odell could have a very good game against the Bengals this week, and
100%.
the Browns are a very run heavy offense, and Kareem Hunt's been playing phenomenal this year.
It's
And
harder though without Chubb. But go ahead.
it is. But I mean, like I said, Hunt's been playing well, and
He's
I
been
think
good in his career.
they're gonna rely
People
on
forget that though before his incident.
Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But like I said, I think they're gonna feed Hunt the ball, and I see Landry getting maybe like 2, 3 receptions for 30 yards. And that's it.
Yeah, even when Baker's had his highs, like his biggest highs against the Cowboys, he
Hmm.
still didn't look awesome. He missed. I mean, I know they had that end around that Odell scored on, but the possession before Odell had the ice when he was right down the sideline, perfect, and Baker overthrew him by like 5 yards.
Right.
How do you overthrow Odell? He's one of the better receivers in the NFL.
I mean, I wouldn't say I don't know. I mean, Odell. I agree. Odell is one of the better receivers in the NFL.
Hmm.
Not right now, obviously,
Even
but
if his stats don't say it though, John, he's definitely one of the better ones. If he was on a more consistent team with like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, even Big Ben, you could say, Aaron Rodgers, you could see where he would be a big factor.
right. And Jarvis in that Cowboys game, like you were saying, he had 1 reception for 37 yards. He had a touchdown, but I mean Baker only looked his way once, and that was against the Cowboys, man. And
Worst
he
defense in the NFL. Actual worst defense.
how beat up that team, that defense is, and everyone hyped up that team, especially that defense. They
I
got
did too. I'm gonna be honest. I did too. I drafted the Cowboys defense. I was like, "This is gonna be a great year." They got Jalen Smith,
like Chuby.
Leighton Vander Esch. Like,
It's not like Chuby Awuzie is. I mean, he's a second year cornerback. Uh, I don't think he'll have that great of a year or of a career, to be honest. But um, who is it? Who did they get in free agency? I forgot who it was.
for what position do you play?
The defensive back. Anyways, forget about that. But like I was saying, Cowboys terrible. Jarvis barely produced against them.
You
I
did have
mean,
a passing touchdown though.
he had a touchdown, but I mean that's about it, man.
All right,
Who do you got?
John, listen to me for this one. This one's gonna be controversial.
All right.
Sit Drew Brees
I honestly I agree with that.
at the Panthers. It's funny to say because he's always been one of the most consistent, best quarterbacks. I remember a few years ago when I was watching football, and guess who was playing? Drew Brees, Eli Manning. They put up like 50 points. I remember Drew Brees had like 70 fantasy points or something. That was like a huge shootout. But
Drew
this
Brees
week,
had 7 passing touchdowns and Eli had 6 that game.
yeah, it was crazy. It was just an absolute shootout. I didn't expect it at all. But this week, I'm saying sit him. It's already came out that the Saints are looking to run the game through the running backs and Alvin Kamara. Um, Drew Brees isn't gonna have a bad game. He's not gonna play terribly. They're not gonna lose because of him. I think that they'll win the game. But I think Drew Brees is gonna have 237 passing, one passing touchdown, and one pick.
Hmm.
I think they
Okay.
get a lucky tip at the line, something like that.
I
So
think
what do you already said Jarvis Landry? You think he's gonna have 3 catches for 30 yards?
yeah.
Yeah, it sucks to say because he's been one of the better receivers for the Browns over the
Yeah.
last couple of years.
You think the Panthers are going to win against the Saints?
I predict that the Saints will win because I just think Alvin Kamara is gonna have a monster game. I'm thinking like 160 rushing yards
Hmm.
or 140 rushing yards, 70 in the air. He could push 3 touchdowns this week.
I can see that happening.
He
Yeah.
could push 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, yeah. Um the only thing about the Saints this year is that their defense hasn't been they haven't been that great. They haven't been that great.
Underperforming, underwhelming.
Especially in fantasy too. I mean, I'm starting Teddy Bridgewater this week because I'm really thin at quarterback right now ever since Dak got hurt. But the Saints are ranked 28th as a defense in fantasy, so
He could have a week,
you never know.
but they
All right,
might run the ball a lot because the Saints defense is pretty bad. But so is the secondary. But they have Cam Jordan. He's always been a pretty consistent guy on the edge.
all
All
right.
right, John. What are you
Mess
thinking for your second one?
I can sit him. All right, I got Michael Gallup.
I agree.
Yeah,
He's gonna be. He's gonna be. He might go off. He has the go off potential, but I think he's gonna be the odd man out for Andy Dalton this week.
touchdown that he had last week
Not
against.
good. Not a good look for him.
I mean, and he has nothing against the Red Rocket, nothing against Red Rocket, but Andy Dalton is just he's not the QB for Dallas, obviously, and it's not like they can do much about that. But Michael Gallup's not a bad receiver, but I mean, Washington isn't a terrible defense either.
They have a great pass rush, so if they can get home to Andy Dalton,
Exactly, and I mean, the Cowboys' offensive line, they're banged up, and they're not looking like they usually do. You know what I mean?
I
So
agree.
I think Andy's gonna get he's gonna get a lot of pressure this week.
Hmm.
And if he's gonna be looking at anybody, it's CD and Amari. So I don't think Michael Gallup is primed for a big week.
Oh, and hopefully Dalton Schultz because he's my fantasy tight end this week.
Right, right.
I hope he scores at least a touchdown. I don't even care. 2 catches, 20 yards, and a touchdown for all I care.
I'm gonna say Michael Gallup is. I mean, I think he'll have like 3 or 4 receptions, but I think he's gonna have like 18, 20 receiving yards.
All right. For mine, this really hits home to me. It really sucks to say, but you guys need to sit all Steelers receivers.
Oh,
You can't
really?
start a single one of them. I can't get behind starting any of them this week because Chase Claypool's been an animal, and people are gonna want to start him because the hype around him right now is big. People are gonna want to start Juju because he's Juju, and he's coming back from injury.
But
This week he had a little injury, and so we don't know what we're gonna get from him. But Deontay Johnson's coming back this week from a back injury, and we don't know who's gonna be left out. And also, don't forget James Washington, who's been a beast this year. He hasn't put up the greatest stats or whatever, but he's been an animal. He had a touchdown last week. I don't know who to start. I can't trust. I can't trust him because there's too many receivers to go around. Not enough balls to be thrown against a tough running team on the other end. So the Steelers aren't going to have a lot of time of possession, I don't think, unless they can control the clock with the running backs, which I think is going to be big this week. So I just say sit the receivers. If you do happen to play them, I don't know if you could trust it this week. So if you have another valuable option, or you have one of these guys that we said earlier, like Mike Williams in your free agency, I would go pick them up. John, what do you think about that?
I mean, if you're gonna, if you have a Steelers, I mean, say one of your receivers has a bye this week or something like that. If you have to start a Steelers receiver, if he's on your bench or you just got to pick someone up from the waiver wire, if it's gonna be anybody, I'm gonna say Claypool. I mean, I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but I mean, like Holzer said, dude's been feasting this year, and I mean, Tennessee has a good defense, but I really I have to agree with Holzer here. I mean, I just I think they're gonna be dependent on the run this week, but
I agree. Both sides.
yeah, but I'm not sure you can really start one receiver over the other
That's
on
what
this.
I'm saying.
So
I wouldn't
yeah,
be comfortable starting
yeah,
any of them.
agree with Holzer here.
So, John, who's your last sit 'em?
I have Ryan Tannehill.
Oh,
Yeah, so I know that I've given you a hassle about the Steelers secondary, Holzer, but they've been improving this year, and they're still an elite secondary. They've
very.
proven week in and week out that they are a formidable secondary, and they're dangerous. And I mean, you saw what was it last week? Minka Fitzpatrick, that pick six.
Took one to the house.
Yeah. Minka, man, love you, Minka. But but the Titans, they're gonna be dependent on Derrick Henry, man.
I
I mean,
agree.
I just don't. I'm not saying Tannehill's gonna have a bad game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't throw for any passing touchdowns. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe at the most he runs one in like they do a QBR and they fake it to Henry and Tannehill sneaks in for a touchdown in the
I
red
could
zone.
see him getting one passing touchdown because I don't think it's going to be that. I think Henry gets one, maybe two. I think the score might be like 28, 23, 24, 17, somewhere in there. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be control the clock, play great defense for both sides. That's what they're going to preach this week.
I didn't mean QBR. I meant RPO run play option. I
Hmm.
think Tannehill could sneak one in, but I just that Steelers pass rush, man,
They get
best
home. They get home.
best in the league,
Got to
and
get that quota back.
I mean, as much as you can prepare for the Steelers pass rush, you can't. You can't. Cameron Hayward, you got Stephon Tuitt, you who's that one guy? Not TJ Watt, but the other
Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree too. Oh my god, I love Bud Dupree. So underrated. Um I can't remember the dude's name, but just that whole defensive line. Oh my
Vince
god.
Williams. He's a middle linebacker, but he rushes the passer a lot.
I can't remember his name, but he's been having a good season. Um I'm gonna have to look it up, but yeah, go ahead, Hose.
The Steelers used to have a guy named Javon Hargrave. He got traded to the Eagles, but he was an animal too. He used to get home.
It's Tyson Alua. Alua.
Oh, yep, you are right. He
Yeah.
he's been getting home too. He's been good for Tuitt coming out.
That I just if I was a Steelers fan, man, I would be so happy with that defensive line.
I'm
I
very
mean,
happy with that defensive line. We spent so much capital on our defense, and still our offense has not really missed a beat.
and you guys got like that defensive line. Like I said, they're gonna get to Tannehill, but I just every single one of them they all bring out the best of each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I feel like on
Inside is
on either side you got TJ and you got Bud Dupree, and I've heard people say that Bud Dupree is like a bust before
No.
TJ got in there, but TJ Watt animal, and he's bringing out the best in Bud Dupree. And you saw him week 1 against the Giants.
Hmm.
He destroyed our offensive line. He destroyed number 4 pick Andrew Thomas, who I wouldn't say is a bust, but he's not looking too good, and I'm not happy with that.
He
And
didn't play bad last week
I-
against the Eagles.
uh,
He didn't play terribly.
his foot placement and his
He'll
hand.
learn that. He's still young. He'll develop that stuff. I think he could be a great player. He's big. He's strong. That's what you need. He's got a good football IQ. He just needs to keep it up. Keep learning.
Yeah. So who you got for your last of them holes?
Last of them, we talked about the 49ers earlier and how Raheem Mostert's out. My last of them is Jerick McKinnon.
Okay. Yeah.
Even with Mostert out, the backfield's going to be confusing. There's a few different guys that can step in there, get rushes. I think it's going to be a backfield by committee this week. So I don't think anyone is going to step out and be great. They'll be one with like a good amount of points, but I just don't think that anyone's going to boom this week.
Right. Right. And I mean, the Patriots. I mean, the run defense isn't terrible. They're not that bad.
Patriots, they are only ranked 11th in rush defense.
It's
So
not
that's
bad.
why I was kind of the Patriots are. So if they're not, I feel like they'll have more success passing this week. I think the Patriots are like 23rd or something for passing, and I was blown away by that because I just didn't know that they were near the bottom tier
Yeah,
with
you
Gilmore and
that
stuff.
pass defense would be superior to the rush defense.
That's honestly what I thought, but it's just not that way this year, and
Mm,
I'm happy for them because finally they're getting to the quarterback like they need to, and getting to the running backs and
mm.
tackling and stopping the run. I want to see the Patriots succeed now that Tom Brady's gone. I thought that the Patriots are more than Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady's one of the best to ever play. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying I think that Belichick's trying to prove and Cam Newton's trying to prove that they could be better without Tom Brady.
I think Belichick can still do it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots sneak in there at a wild card spot at the
For
end of.
sure.
No doubt, no doubt.
All right,
So
John. Final thing. Um, how'd you enjoy the first podcast?
I enjoyed it, no doubt,
Perfect.
no doubt. How about you, man?
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun talking with you. Um, we're gonna be hoping to do these every Wednesday and every Saturday. John, do you have any closing remarks?
I think we should end on one thing. I think we should talk about Thursday night's game.
Before that, I actually just remembered a topic.
What was that?
AB just got signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think about this?
Ah, God, it's hard. It's hard to. I don't know. He's an explosive player. He's been out of the league for. I mean, you can say he's been out of the league for a year because I mean,
Over a year. He didn't
yeah,
play since week 1 last year.
yeah, he went to the Raiders and then he went to the Pats for 1 week. But I mean, that was 4 preseason games and 1 regular season game, so 5 weeks. I mean, honestly, AB hasn't really been in the league since he was on the Steelers. Um, so it's hard to say. I mean, you've seen the videos online. Dude's been grinding. I mean, props to him for that. But AB's just got
Eh,
to get his mind right.
whatever.
You got to get his mind right. I
I
mean,
don't think he can. He's
I,
had problems in the past. He
you know,
just need if he can get over his problems, great. But I don't know what his problem is. He has an armed assault, whatever. Not armed, but
with his wife or something like that.
he did something to his kid too. Like I
I'm,
don't know.
I mean,
Oh, it was burglary, by the way. He did something burglary. I think
yeah,
he did
AB.
something.
I mean, AB's this. I mean, it was the Seahawks and the Bucks that were really running towards him to get him to sign. But
I honestly here, hold on. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I was really hoping that he would go to the Ravens and just rip apart that locker room, just
seriously,
because it's the Ravens. But go ahead.
coming from the Steelers fan, of course. But
That's what I was saying. But
I mean, I'm glad he went to the Bucks instead of the Seahawks because I don't want to see the Seahawks. I mean, AB has the potential to destroy our locker room, and I don't want the Seahawks because I love DK, I love Tyler Lockett. I just I don't want him to destroy that wide receiver core. You know, he's gonna cause controversy.
Mhm.
I mean, I think he can, but at the same time, I think AB knows what's at stake, and what's at stake is his career, and
I agree.
he's playing with a veteran. I wouldn't say elite, but a veteran is still he's still good. Quarterback Tom Brady. Um,
I don't
and
think he's elite anymore.
no,
Just to
he's
put that out there.
still a good
He's
quarterback, but
formidable. He's better than like your average quarterbacks this year, like your Ryan Fitzpatrick's.
uh,
He's been better than him this year.
but if I mean, if AB produces this year, I mean he doesn't play until week 9 because of his suspension. But um, I mean him, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, if all three of them start really producing for Tampa, then that's dangerous, man. Definitely.
Yeah. Plus, you still got Gronk and
You got, I mean, Cameron
Ronald
Brady.
Jones, Leonard Fournette. You still have a top 13. They had a first round pick on their O line. That O
Mm-hmm.
line was already good as it is. I don't see how Tampa Bay with that front seven too on defense. I don't see how they don't make it to at least the NFC Championship.
Really, you think they're gonna go to the championship? Really?
I think they'll go to the NFC Championship, and I think they'll fall to the Seahawks or the Packers.
Hmm. That's tough. I think the Packers will go to the NFC Championship, but I don't know. I can see the Bucks falling apart. I can not like a mid-season collapse because we're practically at the mid-season, but I think they'll go to the divisional round. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Well,
So,
John, you said you might have had one more topic to get into.
all right, guys. I promise I won't get too much into it, but I gotta rant to you guys about the Giants Eagles game, and I want to hear Holzer's thoughts. I gotta talk about it. So, Holz, what'd you think of the game?
It was a terrible showing by Daniel Jones on that
You-
run.
Okay, okay.
On the run, John. I had you for a second. The run was terrible. I mean, it's not really his fault. He thought there was someone there. He's just got to trust himself in that situation. You saw him. He was getting bigger and bigger strides, just trying to break away to get faster and faster and faster until it
Right.
caught up to him. It's
You
pretty
guys
sad to see.
want to hear a crazy stat though?
21 miles per hour.
21 miles per hour.
That's good. It was very good. It was a good sight.
Speed clocked in by a quarterback since 2018. So he's faster than Murray. He's faster than Kyler Murray. He's faster than Lamar.
Well. I wouldn't say he's faster than those guys. He's just clocked in faster than those guys.
I mean, Lamar has. I mean, like Lamar's broken out for big runs. I mean, you remember that game
He
against
had one
Cincinnati?
last week. He broke one out last week.
Yeah, but um, I mean, I was impressed. I mean, I was watching that game and I saw that run by that was the RPO that Jason Garrett implemented.
Mhm.
Um, that was insane, man. I was freaking out. I mean, Daniel Jones is running down the field and he's outrunning the Eagles secondary. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna run for a touchdown. And then the grass, an invisible
Turf
hand
monster.
out of the turf and just pulls him down to the ground.
Can we
And
just say though, real quick, he played a pretty good game against the Blitz,
did
and
play.
also he looked confident, and he dropped a Danny dime to Evan Ingram right here, and Evan Ingram dropped it. That was icing the game. The Giants would have been tied for first in the division, but they lost to the Eagles. To say that they're still one game out at 1-what? What are they? 1-6?
Yeah.
They're one game out of first place at 1-6. That's awful. What do you think?
They're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to win the division.
Hey, you
No.
never know. What if they get hot?
Ah, man. All I got to say is trade Ingram. Okay. The dude is talent. I mean, he's talented. He's super athletic. I
Problem
mean,
is, John, they just got to get the ball into his hands, and he does the rest. So if he can get that good connection with Daniel Jones, I think it will be Brady and Gronk esque because of how fast he is. He's not as powerful as Gronk, but he can be just as good of a receiver. Honestly, he could be like Shannon Sharp.
he could be.
Shannon Sharp was never the greatest blocker, but he was good.
I mean, we all know how limited the Giants are at receiver right now. I mean, Golden Tate. I mean, he had that touchdown, but I mean, Golden Tate is Golden Tate. He's old. He's not what he used to be, and the Giants rarely use him in our offense, even though he's on the field quite a bit. But I mean, Sterling Shepard came back from injury. He had a pretty good game. I mean, he had that touchdown grab. He had a few receptions for like It was like 30, 40 yards. So Sterling Shepard didn't play bad. Darius Slayton was kind of quiet during the game, which disappointed me. But I
It
mean, we
also
don't.
disappointed me because I lost $1.80 in FanDuel. But go ahead.
But we don't have much at receiver, and that's why I want the Giants. I mean, we're gonna have a top five pick. I mean, that's clear as day. The Giants are not good this year. We just don't have the talent there. I love our coaching staff, but I mean, I think Gettleman's gonna get fired before the season ends, and whatever GM comes next, I think we need to pick up Jamar Chase in the draft. I mean, he's the
But
dude's
I
a
don't know who the Giants need because they need pieces everywhere.
they the Giants' top four needs right now. We need a cornerback.
Corner.
I mean, Bradbury's been tearing it up this season. I mean, the dude might be a Pro Bowler, who knows? But I mean, we need someone on the opposite side of the field for Bradbury because um, I mean, we just God, our secondary is just not good.
Can we
I
just
mean,
say you need another playmaker on the offensive line? Can we just get that out of the way?
I mean, Will Will Hernandez isn't that great. I mean, like I said earlier, Andrew Thomas hasn't been living up to expectations. I mean, you can't make a verdict just yet. I mean, it's only 7 games into the season, so I mean, Andrew Thomas can pan out, no doubt. I think we need to switch him to the right side of the line, but Cam Fleming, bad pickup in free agency. I think we need to trade Kevin Zeitler. I think we could get some draft capital for him.
Yeah, you could definitely get a third for him. He's played very well this season, and well, he's played pretty well this season. But prior seasons, he's played very well.
He's not bad, and he's a good vet to have on a team. So I think we could trade into a team that needs a guard, and he could bring that veteran presence. And he's like you said, he's still not a bad offensive lineman.
For sure.
And Matt Peart, the Yukon tackle that we picked up in the third round, I really like Matt Peart. I mean, I think he's been playing better than Andrew Thomas. I mean, he's by no means a great tackle. I mean, he's still a rookie, obviously, but I think Matt Peart, he's good. When he's been in the game, he's been really good. Andrew Thomas got he didn't play the beginning of last week for some unknown reason. I think it was disciplinary issues. Joe Judge sat him for the first quarter, but Matt Parrott played really well. And then we have Nick Gates at center, and Nick Gates actually kind of shut down Aaron Donald when we played the Rams. I mean, Aaron Donald had a half a sack, but I
You
mean,
gotta expect that when you're playing Aaron Donald. He's
yeah,
gonna at least get there one time.
offensive line, I mean, still pretty bad. We're starting to take shape a little bit, if you know what I mean. We're starting to become better, but we definitely need to pick up an offensive lineman. I don't think we should shoot for one in the first or second round. I'd say take one in the third round. I think we need to either pick up an edge or, like I said, a receiver. Like Jamar
I
Chase
think
would be the dream.
Jamar Chase would be a great pick to put across from either Slayton or Evan Ingram or even Saquon. Like they need someone to complement Saquon and to take the top off the defense, and that's exactly what they get with that
Right.
pick. So
But I mean, to go back to Evan Ingram, that drop. I mean, Evan Ingram has
terrible.
not been playing good this year, and ever since Evan Ingram got drafted, he's missed 14 games. We drafted him in 2017. We drafted him 23rd in the first round.
Ooh,
I mean, that's kind of high for a tight end.
could have
And
had T.J. Watt.
yeah, exactly. But Evan Ingram, 22 drops since he got drafted, and let me
Great.
remind you, it's 14 games, and that's the most drops among any tight end since 2017 when he was drafted. So that's pretty bad. That's really bad. Evan Ingram, I mean, I don't even know if it's last year he didn't play too bad, but I wouldn't say it's because we're not utilizing him in the offense like we should. Jason Garrett, I mean, our offense isn't that bad, but Jason Garrett's not doing bad. I like how he's been mixing it up with the plays.
Mhm.
We were pretty vanilla with the plays for the first 4 weeks, but I mean, what are you going to expect with the new coaching staff? And Daniel Jones is in a new system. Our offensive line is pretty bad, so got no receivers. And I was hard on Daniel Jones at the beginning of the year, but
Very hard. Sending
that,
me videos like this is why we don't like him. This is why we don't need him. Like give
I
him
was
time. Give him time.
on him last year. Daniel Jones did pretty good for a rookie last year. I mean, there hasn't been a game except one game, and that was the Bucks game last year when he had that game-winning touchdown for us. But he's had a turnover in every single game, and it's
It's
obvious
gonna
that
happen. It's gonna happen. Well, you're young.
he has fumbling problems, no
He
doubt. So
does have fumbling problems.
I mean, Daniel Jones definitely has the potential to be our franchise quarterback, and he
For
played
sure, for sure.
really well on Thursday night. I mean, he had 94 yards rushing. We had that 97-yard drive composed by Daniel Jones. Like, it was great, man. I mean, it was great to watch. That game was very, very fun to watch, and I was anxious the entire game. I mean, the fourth quarter, we're up 21-10, 2 minutes left. I'm like, damn, dude, we got this game. Daniel Jones is showing that he can be our quarterback, and I mean, I have faith in the dude, no doubt. It's just hard. That was such a hard loss, man. I mean, the last game I watched like that really hurt me was the Miracle at the Meadowlands when Deshaun Jackson took
To the
that
house.
punt for a touchdown to the house. Yeah, but losses to the Eagles are always tough, man. As a Giants fan, we haven't won against them since 2016, so it's hard. And Bailey Marsh, if you're out there watching, I know what you're gonna say. Don't say it. Okay. It's just, God, man, it's tough being a Giants fan. That game hurt. And even Wayne Gallman, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
He went off.
He played that those final two drives that we had. He ran hard. He ran
Did.
hard. I mean, the stat sheets for both Daniel Jones and Wayne Gallman, the stat sheets didn't show that they played super well. I mean, Daniel Jones had like 180 yards passing. He had
Which
two touchdowns.
isn't great. Which isn't great. But he played good enough to win.
Yeah, and that pick that he had, I mean, I think that was Evan Ingram's fault. I mean,
It could have been.
I talked with a few people. People said Daniel Jones. I mean, he shouldn't have been throwing the ball right there, but that's what Jason Garrett's play called. That's what his play calling asked for. I mean, Ingram was going on the quick slant. Daniel Jones put that right through the pocket, right through that hole. He knitted it like a sweater right through that hole, and I mean, it was a bullet. It was a fastball, and
Good play.
Ingram just didn't get his hands there, and it resulted in a pick.
Hmm.
And I was pissed off. And I think we need to trade Evan Ingram for draft picks because we need it in this draft. We only have about 6, 7 picks. I think we could get him for at best a second or a third,
I don't
maybe
think you're getting a second for him anymore.
maybe a fourth. Yeah,
You might get a third if a team's
value stuff.
desperate for a tight end, but you'll definitely get a fourth.
But the Saints and the Patriots are interested in him, so that's what I've been hearing.
That's dangerous. If he goes to the Patriots, that could be a dangerous combo.
Could be. It could
'Cause he's
be.
fast. He's not the best blocker, but he's fast.
Athletic, man. He's athletic. He has the potential there, no doubt. And if it's not with the Giants, then I think he could pan out somewhere else. I just
Him to the Eagles.
I mean I think I can speak for all of New York Giants fans right now. We hate Evan Ingram right now, and we want him on the team. I mean I don't think we should cut the.
Giants fans are brutal.
I know we're passionate.
Just like
I
Eagles. That whole division's brutal.
yeah. I don't think we should cut the guy. Like I've seen a lot of
No,
people saying,
don't
but
cut him.
because we can get something for Evan Ingram. I mean, the dude's not terrible, but I mean, we can't just cut him. We can't, and that's not realistic. And
I agree.
I mean, like Evan Ingram, I think we need to trade. I would say trade Golden Tate, but I'm not even sure if we can get like a 7 for him because
You won't get anything for him.
I'd say, I mean, keep Golden Tate for the rest of the year, but cut him next year. I'd even say trade Sterling. I mean, Sterling Shepard isn't terrible, but he's injury prone. He gets injured all the time, and I'd say trade Sterling Shepard. But
He just
uh,
wants to get rid of the whole roster.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know who would pick up a Shep, and we do kind of
I
need.
don't know.
And like I said earlier, trade. I think we could trade Zeitler, even though he's a good piece.
You would get something for him, I think.
I don't think he's part of our future because we're rebuilding and we don't need a 30-year-old guard on our team. But like we just traded Golden. I wasn't too upset with that because he hasn't been really on the field a lot this year. He just doesn't fit our scheme. He's a scheme dependent edge rusher. But I mean, yeah, man, I don't know. It's just hard, and it's gonna be a little while until the Giants are good again. No doubt. And that game,
All
like I
right.
said, was hard, but it was a fun game to watch. You can't
They'll be
deny.
good again soon. Give it 4 years, 5 years. They have good drafts. I think they could be right back in contention.
I love our coaching staff, man. The only problem is ownership. John Mara needs to sell the team. We need to get a new general manager. Dave Gettleman is not the guy. I mean, Blake Martinez and James Bradbury
He's a
were
good pickup. Blake
pretty.
Martinez is good.
And I'm happy. Those are probably my two favorite players right now,
Yeah.
uh, besides Saquon and I mean I like Daniel Jones still, but I got to be critical on the guy. I mean I just you gotta I mean you gotta expect more out of him, but I mean like you said, he's a second year quarterback. He doesn't have a lot around him. But yeah, get rid of Gettleman and I mean I like Patrick Graham as our defensive coordinator. I mean, our defense, we have scrappy defensive players. Our defense isn't terrible. We're kind of like mid in the pack, amongst defenses right now. Um, but Jason Garrett, I mean, I can see him building a good offense around Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I mean, Jason Garrett isn't a terrible play caller. I mean, you saw him in Dallas. Dallas has always had pretty good offenses, and
Inconsistent, but good.
inconsistent, inconsistent sometimes. Yeah, definitely. But and then Joe Judge. God, I love Joe Judge. He's a football guy. I mean, he you saw what he was doing at the beginning of the season. He was taping balls to our defensive backs' hands so they wouldn't hold on to the receivers and stuff like that. But Joe Judge is a football guy. He sticks to his word. If someone is undisciplined on the team, then he's going to bench them for a little bit to teach them a lesson. And he just he just has that mentality that New York Giants fans love, and he's tough. He's
Came
gritty.
from Bill Belichick's era too, like system, so that really helps him out.
I just like the guy, and I just I hope the best for the Giants. I really do. I love this team as much as I get mad, as much as I hate them sometimes. I love this team, and I really hope things work out. Yeah, it's a tough game, but we'll get through it.
You will. And if you did enjoy that video, we are a relatively brand new channel. It is John and Holzer Roundtable Sports Radio. So if you do enjoy that video, don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you do happen to be new. And John,
Yes, sir.
we don't really have an out.